Live from Chicago, this is Fox News in the Morning.
Well, the choice between having a successful career and becoming a mom can be a tough one for young women. Now, more and more women are putting their fertility on ice, holding off on motherhood with a procedure called egg banking. Now, egg banking is a booming business, allowing young, healthy women to beat the biological clock and delay having children by freezing eggs. But does this technique work, and what about the dangers? Dr. Randy Morris is a fertility expert, and he's here to answer some of the questions about egg banking. Thank you so much, Dr. Morris, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I just told you in the break that a couple of years ago, well, like last year, my doctor came to me and said, you know, in 5 years, you really need to start thinking about freezing your eggs if you want to be a mom. And I'd never heard of this. It freaked me out. I didn't know what to make of it, but apparently more and more women are doing it.
Well, you're a candidate for doing this simply because you kind of fit the profile. You're successful, you've put off childbearing to do career and education, and that's the type of person that egg banking is going to be targeting. However, it is still a technology that's in its infancy, and as we'll talk about, it's really got some concerns.
Well, let's break it down. What exactly is egg banking? I mean, how do you take a woman's eggs?
Well, it's a lot more difficult than when we do sperm banking, because a man can just come into a clinic on any given day, collect a specimen, and you can freeze that. We also have good technology for being able to freeze sperm. With eggs, however, you have to go through an entire in vitro fertilization cycle. In other words, a woman has to come in, take fertility medications. These are injectable fertility medications for 2 to 3 weeks, and then she has to undergo a minor surgical procedure called an egg retrieval to remove the eggs.
Is it painful?
Well, it's done under anesthesia. I've actually done a couple of egg retrievals for various reasons without, and it's uncomfortable to do. So you would have sedation. It only takes about 10 or 15 minutes, but it allows the doctor then to remove the eggs which have developed from the ovaries. And depending upon the age of the female and her response, you might get anywhere from a few eggs to maybe 20 or 30 eggs.
Now, I understand the ideal number of eggs to retrieve are 20 to 30 because the success rate, there have been about 100 children born from having been frozen eggs.
Yeah, I think that's an optimistic estimate, and that's a worldwide estimate.
That's a worldwide, which means then your chances are still very slim.
Very slim. And part of the problem is that we just don't have the technology perfected yet to freeze eggs. They're a lot more fragile than sperm, and they can be damaged during the freezing thawing process.
So, and as you said, the damage can be caused to the eggs in the freezing thawing process. Why?
Well, there is a structure inside the eggs called a spindle. These are sort of the ropes and pulleys that pull the chromosomes to the different parts of the cell during division. And those things are very essential to be acting normally when that egg is trying to divide. And when it gets damaged, you can then have abnormalities in the numbers of chromosomes, and that can lead to lower success rates or more concerning, babies that are born with birth defects.
Now, the low success rate is obviously concerning. Here you are, you're a 30-year-old woman, you spend the money to freeze the eggs, you wait until you're 40 thinking, okay, I've waited, I've done all of these things, I've found Mr. Right, and I think we're ready to do this, and it doesn't work. That's devastating.
It is devastating. So, and we really have a problem with these programs that are marketing this as sort of, here is your guarantee against future infertility. We're nowhere near that level of success. The other problem is that, as in your example, that woman in her 30s who decides to do this, and now she's financially well off enough to do this, may have already missed the boat. It's really maybe in the 20s that we should be doing this because of that age factor, and we're going to be much more successful in whatever we do in those younger women.
Now, the cost of all of this, it is very expensive, between $7,000 and $15,000 to have this procedure done, which, again, no guarantees, and you're looking at women, though, who've been successful in their careers who could probably afford it.
Right, but it also does not include the cost of eventually coming back and using those embryos or eggs, in this case, to achieve a pregnancy with. There's preparation that has to be done of the uterus. You have to thaw the eggs and then fertilize them.
So what's the total cost, perhaps, in all of this?
You know, you're probably looking at something closer to $20,000.
$20,000. That is amazing. That is...
For maybe a 1% chance.
So, I mean, so you're the doctor, you've done this before, you've studied this. Do you recommend women exploring this option if they have the resources available?
The only people that I really recommend it for at the current time are women who really have no other choice. That is, women who have cancer, they're undergoing chemotherapy or perhaps even surgery to remove their ovaries, and it's really a choice between this and nothing. For your average, successful young person who's just looking to bank eggs as a sort of a guarantee against future problems, I would not recommend at this time that they pursue it.
Very interesting. Well, if you have questions about egg banking or other fertility issues, you can contact Dr. Morris through his website, which is IVF1.com, to explore more on the issue of egg banking and, again, any other fertility issue that you might have. So many people are struggling with that. Thank you so much on your knowledge, passing it along to us. David, back over to you.